Hi, John Carousel again. Today I would like to share with you my thoughts on original sin, believe it or not. It's actually something that I've thought about for a while, and I'm kind of surprised that I never heard this from another source. Because, you know, for those of us in 2016, like, who the heck believes in original sin? Like, what does that even mean? And as I do from time to time, I take something that seems incomprehensible, and I assume it's true, right? And I take the position that it's true, and it's up to me to figure out in what way it's true. And so I did this with original sin. I thought to myself, well, what the heck could, let's assume they were right in the Judeo-Christian Bible, in the book of Genesis. Let's assume that there is such a thing as original sin. What the heck could it be? And so I looked at the story, right? I went back to the Bible and I looked at the story of Adam and Eve. And just to refresh your memory, the story, it goes something like this. Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden. It's awesome. God's hanging out with them. And God says, I got one condition. You want to stay in the garden? That tree over there, don't eat the fruit. And we all know what happened, right? Lucifer, bringer of light, the bringer of light, says to Eve, yo, you should try this fruit. It's awesome. And she says, no. God says no. God said not to do that. So, and he said, and then Lucifer says, it's just because he doesn't want you to be like him. And so Eve, tempted, we don't know why she's tempted, and I haven't thought about that yet, but she takes a bite of the fruit. Okay, so, and then bad things happen, right? So let's take a moment and remind ourselves, what was the fruit? The fruit was the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That is a fundamental key. So I said to myself, okay, if that's what happened, she took a bite of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That was the first moment that humans had an understanding of good and evil. So let's go back in time. What were humans before? What were the proto-humans? How did they exist before knowledge of good and evil? And how were we different after knowledge of good and evil? And so I took myself all the way back and I sat with that. And I realized that, what is the knowledge of good and evil? The knowledge of good and evil, well, before we had the knowledge of good and evil, we had, like, being eaten by a bear is bad. It's painful, right? Swimming in the ocean when it's too cold is painful. Going without food is painful. Those are negative experiences. Eating a juicy piece of fruit, ripe cherries, being snugged by a fire, perhaps, making love, having sex, good things, right? So we understood comfort and discomfort. We understood health and ill health. But then something happened where we started to categorize these things, not as positive and negative, but as good and evil. And that piece right there is judgment. When we begin to insert a value, an abstracted value, into experience. And really, I think this comes with cognition. It comes with sentience. It comes with the prefrontal cortex. It comes with the ability to do analysis and model. And so ultimately, we get to this place where we're able to do modeling And we're able to, in the model, use the construct of good, positive, bad, negative to create a value system that's actually separate from our experience. And this is judgment. When we judge something, we stop experiencing it. We abandon the sensation and rely on the concept. And so that puts us in a place of separation from nature. And I think separation from God. Now, I think, so there's more to this story. I want to revisit it in another section, because there's more to, we'll revisit Adam and Eve in the garden in the next segment.